Hey guys, it's Malique, and I wanted to run you through today what I think is easily the best bargains you're going to get in terms of music, in terms of guitar, in terms of production. And that is Apple MainStage. If you use Logic Pro, this video is not for you. You already have the MainStage sounds built in. This is for you Ableton, Cubase, FL Studio guys. For example, we're going to use it in the context of guitar because I'm a guitarist. We have made a mix rack for the guitar in MainStage. It's going to take the signal from MainStage, pass that out to a Loopback driver, put that into Ableton, and then we'll be able to track guitars with our MainStage sounds just like that. The software I'm using for my Loopback is Blackhole. Doesn't have to be opened or anything, it just sits in your audio driver panels. A little bit Freak Show Industries in the pay for it or give it away for free view, it seems, but Freak Show Industries is a bit more satirical with it and allows you to steal their plugins, but we'll get back to them in another video. So, in terms of MainStage, what we've got going on here, my guitar is plugged into input 2 of my interface, so that's what I've selected here on our guitar channel strip. Default patch pulled up. You can see we've got the pedal board, the amp, the EQ. We can go into the amp, we can like move around the mic position, change the mic, change the cab, change the individual settings. That's all there, and I love the Logic Amp Designer, which is why I kind of wanted to go through the effort and have this routed and be able to track guitars this way, because it's just so easy and so fun to just plug in, pick a sound and jam, and then be able to just record that as one extra step is amazing. Let's not spend too long on this, let's keep cooking. Initially, your setup is going to be your audio in from your interface and out from your interface. So if we just listen to that. We've got some guitar signal. What we are going to do next is we need to transfer the audio from MainStage over into our Ableton project over here. What we're going to do for that is we are going to go into our settings. Once whatever Loopback software you're using is installed, it should pop up, and you want to set it as your output because we're sending audio out of MainStage into our Loopback. We'll keep our interface as the input because we still want to get our guitar signal coming in. At this point, you will lose your ability to hear because it's not going to the output anymore. It's now going to the Loopback driver. So you're not going to be hearing guitar anymore, but you'll still see our meters going as we hit. Our next step is we need to go over to Ableton, or whatever DAW you're using. I'm using Ableton in this case. We are going to make a stereo in channel, and we're also going to go into our audio interface settings in Ableton and set our output as my interface so I can hear it again, and our input is now going to be the signal coming from MainStage. You might have to adjust the buffer size, maybe just to get the latency up to like an acceptable level. I can barely notice it at 128 and it's running pretty decent across the PC. Once you have that, you can set this channel to in. I just label it as listen, just to clarify that this is what I'm going to be monitoring from, but I'm going to record to these extra guitar tracks I have made here. I'm leaving them as stereo just because there's a stereo signal coming, but you can always sum those down to mono if you know that's the way you want to work. Honestly, the freedom is yours. Now that we can hear ourselves again, want to make sure the other two channels are off, because while you're monitoring and recording, a little bit of the latency gets recorded. I'm not sure why this happens. There's a lot of experiments on it on YouTube, specifically in Ableton. We are going to go in and we're going to set the monitoring on these two channels to off, or the one channel, how many other channels you like to use. And once we've set that monitoring to off, because we're still monitoring from this second channel, we are going to have our recorded signal go directly to here without any monitoring coming through this channel, and that is going to have our performance line up properly with the grid. Just a very good way to set up your monitoring to keep things headache-free in the entire recording process. Now we've got our listening channel, we've got our two channels. I'm just going to play a simple chord progression. We'll track it in. Our audio is still coming from MainStage. Our DI guitar is going to MainStage through our amp designer and then coming out in our Ableton project and then being recorded to the guitar left and guitar right channels. Let's just do a little bit of that now. Let's hit it with a chord progression, shall we? Okay, and now let's do the other guitar and we'll have a double track. And it's literally that easy. All of these tracks are straight audio, there's no plugins on them yet. Because we're recording our recording chain, it's going to fit better in the mix with less processing than, for example, just miking a cab directly. These sounds are kind of set up in a very beginner-friendly way. So if you just want to get in and get started in recording guitar, this is a very good approach. It's not the only approach. There's lots of VSTs that can just run natively in Ableton that are also lovely to use. Neural DSP do a lot. There is Roots. There's a couple more modern metal amp sims. You could go down that route, but personally, there's just so much variation in Amp Designer, and if you're performing and you're using this as your performance rig already, using this for recording feels very intuitive. I'd definitely suggest trying this out. Honestly, for all the additional plugins you get access to in MainStage, all of the compressor emulations, there's lots. For the £30 bundle, like, there's no other place I think you get this many and this quality plugins, virtual instruments, performance resources. It just works. It works wonderfully, and it's all pretty modular, so you can shuffle it around. I'd definitely recommend. My takeaway, I like this method. I think it's going to take a little bit more tweaking. We did get some CPU artifacts, and it could just be the buffer sizes across both programs, so I'll have a little look into how I can kind of minimize that in terms of going forward with me using this myself. I don't want this video to be too long because we're coming, oh geez, it's 16 minutes already, but that's raw time, so I'm going to cut it down a little bit. But thank you for watching. We had some recording issues with the Tascam, so this thing might end up going in the bin. Email Tascam. Don't know if they're going to get back to me about it, but I hope so, because when it works, it's wonderful. It's an absolute delight to use, and when it doesn't, it's just inexplicable. So thank you all for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. This has been MG, Malique G, MG It's a Vibe, in the Koala Udi. So, peace!